Hello, welcome back everybody to another Quick Carbon Podcast episode 15 now. Fumzane never actually did a fireworks sparkly lights display for Joseph for his enormous donation a couple weeks back. So that's on the screen now. If anybody else would like to help support the podcast, or in reality just help me be able to afford to continue existing, then PayPal and Patreon are in the description below, and the links are also in a pinned comment. Also, just like binge watching stuff and letting the ads play also probably helps too, although we're all relying more on PayPal and Patreon nowadays because YouTube's constantly cutting the percentages. So if you'd like to help, those are there, only if you can actually afford to, of course. This is a podcast, so obviously it's primarily audio. Backdrop images shift every 15 or 20 seconds. The images are pieces of my own photography, so if you do want to look at them, that's fine too. But we have now the rig count updates that was published yesterday. And beyond expectations, this rig count drop for this week was even more massive than the last one. This is the biggest one so far. A drop of 73 rigs at once. Well, over the course of the week, not at once, but you get the point. From 602 actively drilling rigs in the U.S., all the way down to 529 in a single week. So U.S. oil production has already taken its drops from the rig count drop with, the delay and everything. But this is going to confirm that it's just going to keep going down. I already expected that U.S. oil production, as time goes on, is going to decline into the 11s. I was not initially sure where in the 11s, but now I actually definitely believe it's going to go down into the lower 11s and down towards 11 itself. I'm not certain about it actually going below 11. That will depend on if the rig count keeps dropping, which it looks like it's going to, but we're still going to have to wait and see, obviously. Despite these production drops already, not just in the U.S., but in other places as well, and willing production decreases that some countries have already implemented, and the OPEC plus production cut deal that everyone is starting up on, oil prices are still not going back up. In fact, as of the last time I looked, they actually had fallen down below 20 again, down to $18 per barrel. As presently, as we have mentioned, world oil demand has fallen from 102 million barrels per day, which was its present height back when everything was still normal before the whole health situation started. It has fallen down to 89 million barrels per day. With U.S. oil demand, in particular, the only one I have specifics for as of the moment, falling from about 20 million barrels per day down to 14 million barrels per day. Now, among the states specifically for the individual rig counts, Texas is now under 300, all the way down to 262, far down from the 620 that it was once at over a year ago. New Mexico had been one of the ones hanging on up until just a couple weeks ago. They were still cleaning in the 100 teens, but now New Mexico has fallen all the way down to 84 actively drilling rigs. Oklahoma, home of the Anadarko Shale, once at 120 actively drilling rigs barely a year ago, is now all the way down to only 24 remaining. North Dakota, home of the Bakken Shale, was in the 50s in terms of its rig count for years now, since the mid-2010s or so. The Bakken Shale had been, gasping and still trying to cling to life. However, now it's even been falling as well, now down to only 34 rigs remaining. West Virginia, underlied by the Appalachia Natural Gas Shale, had been one of the ones cleaning on the most. They even outlasted New Mexico before they started really dropping. However, now they have begun dropping. They'd been holding at 15 or 16, but now this week they've dropped down to only 10 rigs. Louisiana, part of the Haynesville natural gas shale, which underlies the tri-state border area between Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas. Louisiana was once up where Oklahoma was. However, Louisiana has been falling down as well. They are now down to only 41 rigs remaining. Ohio is one of the last ones holding on now, still holding at 9 active rigs. Over at the base of the Rockies, where the Niobrara Shale is what's being drilled, Utah is down to only 5 remaining rigs, Wyoming down to only 6. Colorado is still trying to hold on. They fell down from, I believe they were in the lower 20s, but I'm not certain. But they've fallen down to 16, but have not fallen below that further yet. And, obviously, as I mentioned, the U.S. isn't the only place where stuff is shutting down, not by government order, but just by the fact that oil is down to $18 a barrel. Down in Brazil, it's starting to take its toll very noticeably, as this week they've shut down 62 oil platforms over the course of the week. And also in South America, Colombia is shutting down a unspecified number of drilling and production operations. And of course, as we expected, announcements are now starting to come out, some from countries, some from individual corporations, that they are suspending all exploration operations, which is where the real damage is going to come from. As although there's not that much new left out there to begin with, as fields age around the world, as production drops from older stuff, or in the case of shale, still young stuff, but shale just collapses anyways, to both keep global production at the same level and keep it growing as global demand kept growing, you obviously constantly need to find new sources to replace the now missing production and continue adding new production. So that requires exploration and development, most of which now is in the Arctic and in deep waters offshore. However, exploration and development costs a lot of money, and basically nobody actually is gaining any money right now because oil's all the way down at $18 a barrel. So no one has excess funding coming in, excess profits to, redirect into exploration and development. So exploration is coming to a halt, which is bad. I believe as of my last count before all this started and everything started shutting down, we'd found about 3 billion barrels this year. In comparison to normally at this point in our development, the world consumes roughly 37 billion barrels each year. Now, with this 10 to 12% drop in global consumption, obviously that's going to put it down to, 32 billion barrels, maybe down to 31 this year. But you'll notice that's still over 10 times higher than the 3 billion that we discovered until we started shutting down exploration because of the price collapse. Not that we were discovering at replacement levels anyways. Last year was our best year ever in quite a while. More than a decade, I believe. We discovered 11 billion barrels. And prior to that, we'd been discovering 4, 8, 6, 5, 7.5. It's been not good because there's not really that much else out there that's going to really make it good. But now it's all grinding to a halt because of this. So that's going to cause problems in the not immediate but roughly near-ish future, depending on how long the hold-off on exploration lasts. Alright, that's it for this one. Thank you, everybody, absolutely, for listening in. Like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support everything, if you want to help me out, PayPal and Patreon are in the description below and in the pinned comment. You'll get fireworks with your name and everything. But that's it from me for today. So may God bless you all, and I will see you all around next time.